You guys ever wonder... It hasn't even been 3 seconds! Okay, I will cooperate. I will come quietly. Alright, I won't do anything bad, I promise. Look, okay? Here's my Komi manga. Here's my hunter's license. And here's my gator. It's a secret for anybody who's watched the short film. If you are new to this channel, welcome, and allow me to explain why I have seemingly shot myself in the foot. Twice. So, ever since I began the Monster Girl series, the way that I have always named it is you wouldn't want to date Monster Girl, right? Like, you wouldn't want to date Turbo Granny, you wouldn't want to date Slipmouth Woman, you wouldn't want to date the Lamia, etc. So, that's just the way that I have always named it. And when it comes to Shark Girls, there really is no previous mythos or anybody bigger than Gargora to tackle the subject matter. I know, I could have chosen Ellen Jo, or I could have chosen Shark-chan from... what is it, Shark Dating Simulator? I also wanted to make a personal fan letter to Gura and figure that this would be the most antagonish way to go about it. In my defense, I did research on it, and I looked up a video about what type of fan mail Gura likes to get, and she said...
I've gotten letters from people that talk about all different kinds of things. Literally, anything is fine. You can just write out what you're thinking. What do I like to hear? Everything. I like hearing about whatever you want to talk about.
My graduation gift to you is making you eat those words. But as you're probably rightfully wondering, antagonish, you have an easy out. Why not just say you wouldn't want to date the Shark Girl, and thus you were completely free of any sort of judgment from the audience. And to that you would be right. However, the Shark Girl passes my test. Oh god, please don't throw tomatoes. I'm sorry. Let me explain, okay? Alright. Most of the girls that I have done so far, the Slipmouth Woman, the Leprechaun especially, the Lamia, the Drogamo, etc., they have all been stuff that you wouldn't want to date. And the reason that I have done that is because I rate my ratings on danger rather than personal attachment. If so, I would say you should date the Harpy, because the Harpy is my personal favorite. However, the Harpy does have a mythos in which humans have died and or have gotten hurt because of their proximity. Harpies have a history of hurting people. Lamia have a history of eating children. Even leprechauns have a small asterisk to their mythos where some of them might end up stabbing you for your gold. And so, to any monster girl who is a threat to human life, I cannot in good conscience recommend, and I will always say, you wouldn't want to date this monster girl. So, as per the rules of the antagonist creed, if she is a danger to you, I will not recommend her to you. The only monster girl to have ever passed my test are the centaurs, or more specifically the Centauridae, who are the female centaurs, because, according to myth and legend, there is no record that suggests that they have any interest in harming humans. It is not in their nature to cause harm to and or kill humans, which is the exact opposite of male centaurs for some reason. I guess the Centauridae just kind of make that up, but they are quite literally the 1 in a million nicest monster girl out there who I recommend. However, that does not mean that you can't get hurt to some degree. If you walk behind a centaur and she kicks you, well, alright, that's your fault for being an idiot. If you somehow get crushed while mating with a centaur, that is also on you. I am sorry, you should have taken better precaution. But intentionally, a Centauridae, a female centaur, will not go out of her way to harm you. Thus, the centaur has passed my test, and up until today, has been the shining example of a dateable monster girl. That being said, because the Shark Girl doesn't have a mythos or any sort of background behind it except for the history that I managed to red thread together, there is no record of a Shark Girl ending human life and or causing harm to humans in a way that doesn't end with them recovering somehow. Which is complete BS, because sharks have killed people, and there's like 6 people that die to shark attacks a year, right? But we're not talking about actual sharks, we are talking about shark girls, who, according to myth and legend that has existed since like 2010, do not have a record of killing anybody. Ellen Jo can go out there and beat the crap out of you, but she is not going to kill you. At least I have found nothing that would lead me to believe that she would. Gargora may kill you with cuteness and moe, but she is not going to go out there and start skewering people with her trident. At least I don't think that she is. And I can honestly tell you that that is the same for every shark girl that I have come across. And now, centaurs have a friend up there on the roster, because shark girls, quite ironically, have no record of murderous intent. The way that these videos usually work is that I give you a history lesson to begin with. I talk about the history that I have compiled together of this monster girl in question that exists in our world. I then follow that up by summing up their powers, skills, party tricks, have you, and then follow that with a personal tidbit of how I think that society would react if this monster girl were to suddenly be a living thing within it. I then finish by giving you my personal input as to whether or not I would date the monster girl, and in this case, whether or not I would think that the shark girl is dateable, and that is a lot harder to defend. Before we get into the history, I usually start by saying that I am not a solid researcher, but with the exception of Unhinged Knight, I think that I am the only person who has ever studied shark girls to this degree, so I am probably the one and only shark girl expert in the entire world, so come and get it while it's hot. So y'all in the fish science department can shove it. I am the #1 shark girl expert in the world. Oh god, that sounds so wrong. So without further ado, let's get into the history of nature's favorite deathfish. Despite my best efforts to try to red thread together a history of shark girls, there still isn't a really big history behind it, but I would be remiss to not talk about the creature that they are based off of. Nature's favorite murder mackerel has been around for 450 million years. They just about call all parts of the ocean their home, and I am not going to call them out on it. They come in hundreds of varieties, from cute to borderline nightmare fuel, and they are really cool because they are nature's fish that just does not give a fuck. And to me, that just blows me away with how cool that is. These things beat dinosaurs to existing by 200 million years, largely remained unchanged up to the modern day. I guess, alright, more accurately, the modern day shark existed maybe 299 million years ago, but they have mostly remained unchanged up to the modern day, and not even a freaking meteor can wipe them out. Like big rock from outer space, right? Dinosaurs, weak, can't take it. Shark, on the other hand, total badass. Giant rock comes up them from outer space, they don't care. They're just gonna keep on going. Maybe evolve a little bit over time, but they're not gonna change all that much. Water temperatures rise a little bit, maybe kills off a few sharks, but not all of them. Guess it's true what they say, you can't improve perfection. And yet, somehow, life finds a way. Thanks, DeviantArt. I also wanted to mention something that I found in my research I thought was pretty neat, but didn't know where else to put it, so I'll just put it here. Apparently, 19 million years ago, there was a near extinction level event where 90% of sharks just suddenly up and went missing. How they're able to find that out is that sharks may not have fossilized bones that you can leave behind, but they do have teeth, jaw bones, and cartilage. And a lot of that turns into some kind of mixture that I'll just call shark juice, just because it's easier, that rubs off on rocks, and as sediment builds, that rock is stored at the bottom of the ocean. Now, a scientist will cut open that rock, they will see, or they will determine that the part of the rock is 19 million years old, and they will see if there's shark juice on it. And if shark juice is on there, they could tell, oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of sharks at this time. But what happened was, scientists cut open rocks from 19 million years ago, and they found that there was little to no shark juice on it. That means that there was a time where 90% of all sharks just suddenly vanished, and we have no idea what happened to them. That is very unsettling to think about. They theorized something boring, like the water temperatures rose a bit and it killed off a huge amount of the shark population, but that's no fun. I like to think that the sharks probably went to war with the dinosaurs or something, so they went to war with the lizard men, and then in the peace treaty, it was decided that the sharks would stay in the water and the lizard men would get the land up until they vacated underground, and then the shark people just are waiting for water levels to rise so that way they can take the land that's rightfully theirs. That's more fun. I like that headcanon. What are you gonna do, call me a liar? You weren't around 19 million years ago. Gargora's only existed for like 9,000 years. She can't tell me otherwise. Ooh, okay, better idea. The sharks probably had a civil war. So they were fighting for territory in the ocean, but all of a sudden, a big hullabaloo broke out as to who would get like what part as the tectonic plates were moving or whatever. So they fought each other, and it eventually ended with like all but 10% of the population dying. So the remaining sharks just decided, okay, let's live in peace from now on. Let's not fight each other ever again, because war bad, and so the oceans have been at peace ever since. I wish that I could ask Gura about the shark civil war. But despite that, 10% of sharks that still existed did not give a crap, and they decided to exist into the modern day because they can. As soon as humans get into the picture, they start interacting with sharks at some point, but it is very hard to tell you when that is. Like, best estimates are around 6,000 years ago, when humans start taking boats out into the water and fishing with nets, and then see, oh wow, man, this is a really big edible fish, and then shortly realize they probably shouldn't play with it. We do have some written records, and it's largely believed that the first written record came from Greek chronicler Herodotus. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Early scholars and philosophers like to write down what they saw, just as an early version is an almanac, I guess. And at one point in 1492, Herodotus witnessed a shipwreck, and what he describes are things that he referred to as sea monsters seize men from the water and devour them, which we now today largely believe is the first written account of sharks. At least we think they are. There is a lot of things that probably could have done that, like alligators or squids or mermaids. Fast forward about 2,000 years and you have the world's first recorded shark bite in 1794. Research in animals and their environments becomes really popular in this time, and so the shark is no exception. They keep capturing live specimens to learn all that they can about them, but we aren't able to get a living specimen that we can keep just yet. That is until the year 1930, when we have successfully figured out how to put a shark in a fish tank. The next largest event for sharks would, of course, be Steven Spielberg's Jaws that came out in 1975. Jaws was a game changer for sharks. Up until that point, people weren't as afraid of them, but Jaws was the movie that literally terrified patrons from going to the beach because they were worried about getting eaten by sharks. Sharks aren't even the most terrifying thing in the ocean. That title, I think, belongs to orcas, who eat sharks and just have a more aggressive nature overall. Looking at you, Shy Lily. But alas, nobody made a movie called Killer Whale or Panda Torpedo. Instead, we got Free Willy, where orcas are given false advertising. You're telling me the little boy can befriend a killer whale but can't befriend a shark? God. Where's the justice? My point still stands that Jaws made sharks terrifying, and it largely stayed that way for a while, up until the 90s when sports teams started using the sharks as a mascot, saying, hey, you know, this dangerous predator would be a pretty good symbol for our football team, huh? A big PR win for the shark, because now, instead of being that creature that prevents you from going on that family vacation to the beach, it is now becoming a mascot. Not to the degree of cuteness like Hello Kitty, but still a mascot. Sharks eventually got their own cartoon TV show in 1933 called Street Sharks, which is just the most 90s thing ever. I see that as children getting more comfortable with the shark instead of seeing it as a horror movie villain, which, all the better because of what would happen next. In the year 2000, DeviantArt is launched and is put onto the web. Now, for those unfamiliar, DeviantArt is a... who am I kidding? You guys know what it is. But it's a place where artists could put their own sort of artistic rendering of whatever they wanted on there. But for the most part, it has a reputation of original characters of the furry variety. We're going to leave that on the back burner for now, but that will come back in a big way when it comes to the history of the Shark Girl, I promise. Just know that DeviantArt is now a thing as of 2000. Despite the progress that sharks have made up until this point, that's not to say that they weren't still terrifying, because in 2003, Bethany Hamilton, the surfer, was out on her surfboard until a shark popped up and took a bite that ended up severing her arm. Bethany Hamilton's story was truly inspiring because despite the fact that she lost an arm to surfing, she never gave up. She kept going on surfing, and she wasn't terrified to go back in the water, which was awesome and encapsulated in a movie that came out. I forget if it was recent or not, but yeah, there is a movie about it. And then, the big one. In 2012, Marvel releases a X-Men comic where one of the characters in it, I believe her name is Laura dos Santos, she is a mutant whose power is, get this, turning into a shark girl. Now, I don't want to say that this is like the axiom of shark girls, but this is probably the axiom of shark girls. This is probably where they came from. Her powers were... I can't really remember what they were per se. I think she just turns into a shark, a really muscly one, and she just has extra strength and she could bite things really hard. I think how she discovered she could do this was she was living in Brazil, and I think she was walking around the local shipyard. She might have been a fisherman. She became ravenous for the appetite of live fish, and after eating a lot of those, she eventually gained the power to turn into a shark. Albeit this isn't really my type of shark girl. There's still a little bit more shark than girl here. But, I mean, the pieces are there, right? We're starting to figure it all out. From there, the Shark Girl would kind of get a little bit of improvement with the creation of a public art piece in Buffalo, New York by a woman named Casey Riordan. That piece was referred to as the Shark Girl art figure, made in 2013, and I believe it still stands to this day. I don't know, it looks more like a Ribozek to be honest, but you know what? Progress is progress. Then, in 2014, sharks would get a huge PR win when the IKEA Furniture Company released its new mascot, the Blahaj Shark. I don't really know why they chose a shark as their mascot, but what I do know is that they marketed the hell out of this thing. At long last, the apex predator of the ocean has been made cute. We have a cute shark mascot now. I mean, you could say that the Marvel Shark Girl was cute, but I mean, she was a girl and then she became a shark whose sole intention was to use that shark strength in battle, so I wouldn't really call that cute. And then you had Shark Girl, the public art figure, which didn't really make a lot of headway. But this was the first time that you had the backing of a huge corporation that pushed this thing out as like a cute, adorable mascot. So we have the cute shark mascot. We have the Shark Girl. The only thing that's left is to marry the two of them together and create an original character. You know where I'm going with this. Enter DeviantArt. In 2017, a popular DeviantArt character referred to as Shark Girl Erica, made by Ambrose, made her debut. And when I say popular, I mean popular. This Ambrose guy has had thousands of people view his work, and the majority of his work, I have confirmed, are of Shark Girl Erica. So, Shark Girl Erica, admittedly, looks more like a hot shark girl. She is more shark than girl for my taste, but I can see the appeal. That's safe enough, right? In the same year, the gaming community was going through a whole lot of simulator-esque games, like Surgeon Simulator, Goat Simulator, but one of these games that would come out is one referred to as Shark Dating Simulator. Can't believe I'm going into this. So, Shark Dating Simulator is a game that's exactly what it says on the tin. I think that the playthrough of it, I remember Jacksepticeye doing a video on it. It was Diver goes down underwater where fish are figuring out how to talk, and so Diver meets a shark that has like a ribbon on her. Oh, I freaking love his video on it. But yeah, to learn the secrets of why fish are starting to talk, you gotta go on a date with the shark. And eventually it goes into a Unipop-esque scenario where the shark drinks a potion or whatever, becomes half shark, half girl, and I'll admit, looks kind of attractive. Oh my god, no. I like the more human variety. Okay, alright. So yeah, the game eventually devolves into a more Unipop-esque plot where eventually it ends up with you playing a Unipop game where the shark is showing off parts of her body, and eventually you could get some pretty good endings out of it. And why did I nod? Okay. So yeah, more or less a hentai game that you can get for $1 on Steam. So if you feel like you want to try out Shark Dating Simulator, or if you want me to try it, let me know. Oh my god, that feels like such a... that'll be an experience. Guys, do not make me date a shark. I don't want to. My point is, 2017 was a big year for the Shark Girl, because now we've got shark waifus. Like, actual shark waifus that exist. Whether or not you would want to go for them, questionable, because they are still mostly shark. But they exist. And then finally, in the year of our Lord 2020, Gargora makes her debut and makes huge waves in the community. Pun definitely intended. At long last, a shark girl that has mostly girl with some shark bits on it. Sharp teeth, a tail, maybe a fin, that's all you needed. Why was that so hard? To say Gargora was huge would be an understatement. She did everything under the sun, and the people loved her for it. She was gaming, she just did streams where she talked to her fans, she sang, which is something that was a huge shock to me when I first heard, and from there she would have a prosperous YouTube following that would continue up until May 1st of 2025 this year, where she is scheduled to have her graduation. I nearly forgot to mention, in 2024, Senseless Zone Zero came out, and one of the characters, Ellen Jo, she is half girl, half shark, dressed in a maid uniform, and kicks a lot of ass. I haven't played the game personally, but I've seen scenes of the gameplay, and she was really huge when she first came out. I think, if I remember, her video, or her origin story, is the most viewed video on the Senseless Zone Zero channel, but I could be wrong about that. Regardless, just another example of shark girls being huge, and there's a lot of fan art of her and Gargora just hanging out. Remember what I said earlier about nature not needing to improve what's already been perfected? Well, humans found a way to do that. And boy, I hope we never stop doing this. It's hard to say where the future of shark girls will go from here, because with Gargora's graduation, we're losing a really big player, not just for shark girls, but just for YouTubers in general, and honestly, I'm really sad to see her go. I may not have been the biggest fan, I didn't tune into every stream, but she always did her little thing in the background, and I thought that it was always fun, and it would always appear in my Instagram feed in one way or another. God, I remember when she was first debuted, and that thing, like, people went crazy over her pronouncing a single vowel, let alone being able to sing. So that was my first experience where I was like, holy crap. This girl's good. The first time I ever heard her sing was her cover of Fly Me to the Moon. and it's beautiful. There's no other way to put it.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars.
I hope that she continues that wherever she wants to go with her future career. But that was like the first time when I saw her goofy ass self just being goofy, right? And then all of a sudden she just drops a beautiful rendition of this old Frank Sinatra song that just came out of nowhere, and then goes back to her goofy self like, I accidentally messed up the second part. Just messed up? What do you mean? Much like the shark itself, you improved upon it and made it the best that it could be. You did good. Take credit for it. But while the future of sharks is uncertain, what is certain is that, much like the creature itself, I believe that it will continue to persist in the form of Zenless Zone Zero, in the form of Shark Girl Erica, that is still posting to this day, I should mention, to, I guess, Jeff the Shark from Marvel Rivals, which isn't really a shark girl, but still an adorable shark mascot. But that is where the Shark Girl sits as of this year. I look forward to seeing how it improves. And now that we've gotten the history out of the way, let's sum it up. What can the Shark Girl do? From what I have found, the Shark Girl, for one, and get this, very controversial idea, I think she can swim good. I just have a funny feeling that she can. The Shark Girl, whether or not she has super sharp teeth or just a really strong jaw, probably can bite super hard, or just really likes to bite in general. That's just the axiom of sharks. They really like to bite. So I'm going to imagine a Shark Girl can too. One characteristic of sharks that I think would carry on to a Shark Girl is that they have good stamina. You can see this in the X-Men Shark Girl back from 2003 to, I guess, this might be a stretch, but Ellen Jo, when she's fighting, looks like that she has a good amount of stamina. Although I'm told that she needs a lollipop in her mouth and constantly has that, so that way she has the energy to fight. I think that's more of a gimmick, but sharks themselves have good stamina. I think that that would carry over to the Shark Girl as well. And no, do not use that for evil. And another thing that I think that would carry on from their shark counterparts is a sense of smell. I'm kind of hesitant to add that one because, with the exception of maybe the Shark Girl from the X-Men, I haven't read it, so I don't know if she actually has a strong sense of smell. But all the other ones that I have covered do not mention that they have a strong sense of smell. So take that as you will. I think that it's possible. It'd be neat if it was. But needless to say, as far as sharks go, not too lethal. Seems like they could fit into society really well. So how would society react to a Shark Girl, huh? Well, luckily, I don't have to imagine. I lived through it. I've seen it. People went crazy over Gargora because she pronounced a single vowel, and then went on to sing, and then went on to dance, and do animatics, and have animations, and be cute overall, and... Could you tell that I'm a fan? I imagine that if Shark Girls just existed in our society today, people would fawn over them. That's... legitimately, I think that is what would happen. There wouldn't really be racism towards it. I don't think that people would be angry in any way. I think that quite the opposite would happen. Everybody would be excited. Because of my theory that they might have more endurance and higher stamina than that of a regular human, I think that Shark Girls, or shark people in general, would be fitness nuts. You'd see a lot of them at the gym, you'd see a lot of them trying for sports, because they're just more agile, they're just more for it, like more built for it. But I also see a scenario where you'd have to bar shark people from the Olympics, or maybe give them a special category onto themselves where only they can participate in it, because if they are participating in the same realm as people, I could see people getting upset over that. Like, hey, that shark's on drugs. that shark has more endurance than people. They shouldn't be allowed to compete with us. At the end of the day, I'd say that the Shark Girl would probably just be as human as they come, just with some additional features. So what about me personally? Would I date the Shark Girl? Yes, but I do have some worries. I guess the main thing that I'm worried about is playing into shark racism. Like, if I take her out on a date to the beach, is that racist at all? Is it weird? Because she's a shark? No. Same problem with the aquarium, right? Like, can I take her to the aquarium? Will she throw a fit? Like, will she get mad at me? Because it's like, what? You only know to take a Shark Girl to the aquarium? Aren't you original? Can't you take her anywhere else? I don't want to make any mistakes. And I feel like there could be a lot of mistakes to be made. The other thing that I'm worried about is that a shark girl might have a voracious appetite, so she could eat me out of house and home. Then again, I have been learning how to cook, so I believe that I can make her some really nice dishes that she will love, and hopefully love me for, and hopefully not eat me out of house and home. I wouldn't mind having a fitness buddy. Like, having a shark girl as my own personal cheerleader, I bet that I would be able to lift double what I am currently lifting now. I would become so strong. All for my shark girl. Trust me, as the world's leading shark girl expert, I know the way to a shark girl's heart, and that is with food, fun, and video games. You can't tell me otherwise. That's the best part about this job. I can make stuff up and you can't call me out on it. Am I worried about her biting me? I mean, sure, but most shark bites are not lethal. So if she does hop on me and she, like, takes a bite out of my shoulder, I know that I could probably still walk out of that alive. It'd be worth it, because she is cute. And then she'd do the anime girl thing where she's all sad looking down at the ground and folding her fingers together. But then the cuteness would overtake me, and I'd pat her on the head and then just say, hey, that's alright, I got another shoulder, but I've only got one of you. And then we'd laugh, and then go get ice cream. And then she'd talk about how cringy that line sounded. Ooh, better idea. Alright, so we go out for a jog, and then I get tired, but she's got high stamina, so she could still go. But I need to relax on a bench, so she decides to sit with me, right? But I need to, like, lie on something soft, because it's just a hard wooden bench. So she offers her shark lap. And I, wiping my head, hoping that I don't have much sweat on it, just lie down, and then I look up, and I see her shark tooth smiling back at me, and I would think, this is the life. I am so glad I have a shark girlfriend. So that is why I believe, who wouldn't want to date a shark? There's so many pros, not a lot of cons to it. And the only one who can correct me on it is graduating. So, Still bittersweet, though. Like I said earlier, I'm not sure where the shark girl will go from here, but what I can say is that in the brief span of time that it's occupied our world, quite ironic given how old the shark is, it has been a wide cultural phenomenon and has given so much to imagination, from video games to original characters, and in Gargora's case, a career, which, the craziest example there. And I'm not sure what she will do next. I hope that she finds peace, whatever she's doing. I'm saying that she's dead. I hope that she finds what it is that she's looking for. The world truly is her oyster in that regard, wherever she goes and whatever she decides to do. I'll miss her, personally, because like I said, she's done her own thing in the background, and it was always entertaining to see her release a new cover, or to see her do her own thing, or to see her pop up on my Instagram feed, so it's kind of hard to see that go, and go under not very desirable terms. You know, for stuff like that, you'd hope that she would retire just based on her own merits, right? Not because of disagreements to management on an empire that she built herself, which to me just, she built it, she deserves it, and it is just wrong to take that away from her just because business. A part of me wants me to see her come back, just maybe under, and maybe she'd do it under a different name, like Gura spelled backwards, but I hope that she doesn't do that, because for one, Aru is a really stupid name, but also because it just doesn't feel right. There will never be anything right about giving up the symbol that you made, but who's to say that you can't make that career again? And who's to say that you might not find something even better after the fact? And you know what? I think the shark is a perfect encapsulation for this whole thing. You know, that badass creature that didn't care when a freaking rock from outer space hit it, and just decided to keep on evolving for millions of years up until the modern day. Sharks are just really resilient little bastards, and whatever crap you throw at it, it's just going to keep on going. So if Gura has carried anything from her shark counterparts, I like to think that she has that. Happy graduation, Gura. And that just about sums up everything I've got on the Shark Girl, so woo, congrats guys, another one down. If you're watching at this point in the video, thank you for watching. This was particularly fun because I got to weave together a mythos that really doesn't exist. I did genuinely feel like Indiana Jones, just, I don't know if that's the right comparison, but I felt like somebody researching something that nobody else has touched on, and it felt really cool. It's, despite the fact that it's on a history of shark girls, which I'm sure not really a lot of people care about, I thought that it was interesting, and I hope that you guys thought that it was interesting too, to a degree. What else is there? I really hope that you guys enjoyed the short film that I made. It's an idea that I had playing around in my head for a while, like what would happen if you were confined to a certain spawn point, but could only leave it based on how long you could hold your breath. To me, that is just a terrifying concept, because you could take this in a horror route where, sure, you'd be able to survive for a little while, but as soon as your refrigerator runs empty and you need to go to the store, can you really hold your breath that long? I mean, you'd probably be able to contact someone because you had your phone, so you can get an Uber Eats or whatever, but still, it just feels like such a weird thing, and I hope that I can come up with other ideas like that and maybe make a whole series out of that as well, just antagonish fables. I think that'd be pretty cool. But I'm not going to end the Monster Girl series in any way. I don't want you to be scared that I'm going to end it or get tired of it. Quite the contrary. What I want to do is not make the channel entirely about Monster Girls. I want to try to experiment with different things, because that is, after all, how I got to the Monster Girl series. I tried something new and you guys really liked it, so I'm going to continue it, and I'm not going to stop it because it's still fun to me. But I don't want to turn it into a thing that I'm constantly doing, lest it becomes something that I don't find fun in anymore. Because if I turn it into a job, it's just going to suck all the fun out of it. So that would be the reason why I'm trying to experiment with other content and see what else is out there, see what else that I can do that hopefully you guys will enjoy, and I hope that I got your back for it. Or I'm sorry, you having my back. That's what I meant to say. I still have people in the comment, like, I'm always worried when I try something new that it won't turn out well, but there are still people that say, like, wow, this is some pretty good stuff, this was fun. Antagonish, you absolute goofnut, you've done it again. And that really reassures me, and I'm really happy that you guys are still sticking with me. What else have I got? Today is my mom's birthday, so happy birthday, Mom. Congrats on another trip around the sun. I guess I've got nothing else to say on my repertoire except just thank you guys for sticking with me. I think I'm gonna go get some dinner. I've been at this for like 2.5 hours and I am hungry. But with that, that's all I have for you. Sayonara, suckers. I'm sorry, let me explain.